This coming week the universally acclaimed film, The Godfather, turns 50. And for Al Pacino, one of the leading men of the mafioso classic, it's taken him nearly a lifetime to come to terms with the enormity of its impact, and the notoriety he has received for playing the career breakthrough role of Michael Corleone. While Pacino was 31 at the time of the shoot, in a new interview with the New York Times, he readily admits he had a tough time coping with the superstardom that followed his Oscar-nominated performance, considering he had only had one film on his resume when director Francis Ford Coppola approached him about playing Michael. Michael Corleone's character arc was as good as it gets for an actor, going from the shy son and reluctant family outsider who served his country honorably in World War II, to unsuspecting hitman, and eventually the ruthless mob boss of the Corleone family. But for Pacino, now 81, he didn't take Coppola's interest in him too seriously, being that he was so green, in terms of film, although he was considered a rising star of the theater at the time. It just seemed so outrageous. Here I am, talking to somebody who I think is flipped out. I said, what train am I on? Okay. Humor the guy. And he wanted me to do Michael. I thought, okay, I'll go along with this. I said, yes, Francis, good, Pacino said of Coppola's interest in him, which ended up becoming a reality when he offered him the part. The Godfather premiered at Loew's State Theater on Broadway in New York City on March 14, 1972, and was widely released in the United States on March 24, 1972. It became the highest-grossing film of 1972, and for a time it was the highest-grossing film ever made, earning between $246 and $287 million at the box office. The film received universal acclaim from critics and audiences, with praise for the performances, particularly those of Pacino and Marlon Brando, James Caan, and Robert Duvall. 5 decades and 49 films later, and The Godfather is still the film Pacino is most known for. It's hard to explain in today's world, to explain who I was at that time and the bolt of lightning that it was, the actor said of the massive impact the film had on his life and career, adding, I felt like, all of a sudden, some veil was lifted and all eyes were on me. Of course, they were on others in the film. But The Godfather gave me a new identity that was hard for me to cope with. The film was nominated for 11 Oscars at the 45th Academy Awards in March 1973, which included Pacino's Best Supporting Actor nod. It went on to win Best Picture, Best Actor, Brando, and Best Adapted Screenplay, Coppola and Mario Puzo. Considering himself a bit of a young rebel at the time, the New York City native decided not to attend the Oscars ceremony. I did go back for others, he said of the 8 Oscar nominations he's received since The Godfather, which included Best Actor for The Godfather Part 2, 1974. But I didn't go to them early on. It was the tradition, he added, in a reference to Marlon Brando famously taking the ethos a step farther by actually giving back his Oscar. He also suggested that his decision to skip that first Oscar ceremony was an example of him trying to cope with fame at a young age. I was young in terms of the newness of all this. It was the old shot out of a cannon syndrome. And it's connected to drugs and those kinds of things, which I was engaged in back there, and I think that had a lot to do with it. I was just unaware of things back then. Now a veteran of the silver screen, Pacino has gone on to be widely considered among the great actors of his era due to his stellar resume that also includes Serpico, 1973, Dog Day Afternoon, 1975, and Justice for All, 1979, Cruising, 1980, Scarface, 1983, Dick Tracy, 1990, Glengarry Glen Ross, 1992, Scent of a Woman, 1992, Carlitos Way, 1993, Heat, 1995, Any Given Sunday, 1999, and The Irishman, 2020. Pacino now says he deeply honored for all the praise and accolades bestowed on The Godfather, and that he was so fortunate to have scored the role of Michael Corleone, although it has taken him a lifetime to accept it and move on.